Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today we're reviewing two of the biggest tablets out in the market that really ask you the question, what is a productivity tablet? We're talking, of course, about the iPad Pro 9.7 inch and the Surface Pro 3. So we'll be going over these two devices and really seeing which one is the best productivity tablet for you and which one is the best for you depending on which category. So let's get right into it and see which one really is the best tablet for you. Now the first thing we're going to take a look at is the look and feel of the two tablets. Now when it comes to the Surface, we have a traditional sense now. Actually, when it comes to both of these, we have a traditional sense now. Neither one has changed over the past couple of years that much. With the Surface Pro 3, you have a built-in kickstand, which allows you to, of course, stand it up. Underneath this kickstand, you do have a micro SD card slot, and the design is pretty much the same. You have the volume rocker, you have these fans on the side, and that's about it. There's not too much that has changed over time with this device. With the iPad Pro, again, very similar to its predecessor. It does have, newer colors, but that's about it. Other than that, we have the camera bump on the back and the flash, but again, a very similar look and feel to most iPads. Overall, between these two, I would have to say, though, the better overall look and feel is going to go to the iPad. Surface just doesn't have an amazing look to it that makes it stand out. So for that reason, the best look and feel will go to the iPad Pro. So the first thing we always take a look at when we compare our web browsing is the displays. So with the iPad Pro, we have a 9.7 2048 by 1536 screen, which gives us a resolution of 264 pixels per inch. Now on the Surface Pro 3, we have a 12-inch display, and it has 2160 by 1440 pixels per inch, which gives us a 216 pixels per inch. So in terms of pixels per inch, the iPad does have a better ratio, so it should fit more in the web page. Now we are having both load full web pages, so we'll try it out and see how they do. And the Surface definitely took it. Just completely. Yes, so when it comes to web browsing, there's definitely a difference in how quickly your web page will load. Let's see how the movement goes. Response is great on both. How about pinch to zoom? Pinch to zoom is really good. Pinch to zoom is really good on both. Let's do double tap. And that one actually hit. Oops. So overall, when it comes to web browsing, both seem to do very well, but the web pages will load a lot quicker on the Surface Pro. And you do have to give it to the Surface Pro for one specific thing, actually, and that is that the Surface Pro can load any web page. So if you have Flash or Silverlight using your web page, like say Netflix or any Adobe Flash website, it is going to load perfectly with the Surface, whereas it will not load with the iPad Pro. So overall, for web browsing, the Surface Pro 3 will take it. Now when it comes to sound quality, the iPad does have a definite pro to it, and that is that you have speakers all around it, so that's 4 speakers as opposed to the 2 side speakers on the Surface Pro 3. So we're going to see just how well each one does by playing both songs. We'll start with the Surface and go to the iPad and then back and forth. I'll be your hero, baby, if you let me. I promise I will be there for you in your time of need, in your dark.
your darkest hour, on your brightest day, I will be there for you, babe. Call on me. I'll be your hero.
So as you can see, when it comes to these two, in terms of sound quality, the iPad Air Pro definitely takes it, just having the better overall sound between the two. Now, when it comes to watching movies, we obviously know that the Surface Pro 3 has a little bit of an advantage right away, being the bigger between the two. You have a 9.7-inch screen here, and you have a 12-inch screen here. So we will see just how the two fare when it comes to playing the same video. So overall, when it came to these two tablets, there's a really interesting contrast here, and I'm going to have to call this a tie just because of the fact that it really depends on what you like. One, the Surface Pro obviously has the bigger screen, so it definitely has that going for it. It also has, I would say, the deeper colors between the two. However, the iPad Pro can definitely get brighter comparing between the two. So it has a definite brightness, but the colors don't look as lush because of that. So overall, between the two, I will have to call it a tie. I personally would prefer the Surface Pro, just having the bigger screen. However, I cannot deny that the iPad is definitely brighter, and that will appeal to a lot of people. When it comes to the camera quality between these two, I didn't even bother taking any pictures. Why? Because there's no point. The iPad Pro easily has one of the best cameras of all tablets, whereas the Surface Pro has probably the worst camera of all tablets, at least anywhere near their price point. So overall, the Surface camera is really more of an afterthought, whereas the iPad Pro camera is a huge emphasis on the camera this time with the Pro series. So yes, when it comes to camera quality, you're definitely going to want to take better photos with the iPad Pro. So here's the thing. When it comes to gaming, you might think that the iPad Pro, well, I mean, it clearly has more apps compared to the Surface, right? Windows apps are almost non-existent, and they don't have that many games on the Windows App Store. But here's the thing. This is a full PC, which means you have the back of Steam. And while you say, oh, well, it can't play any of the really high-end games, well, to my reply is this. Any game, same quality level, absolutely the Surface Pro can play. So that's really what it comes down to. When it comes to Surface Pro 3, absolutely can play any of the basic games that we call apps can play on this level. So yes, it can absolutely play those kind of game quality. And since obviously Windows has a lot more programs and a lot more games for it made compared to the App Store, yes, easily the Surface Pro 3 will take the gaming category. Now, when it comes to battery life, this is another clear winner. The iPad Pro will definitely take the battery life because it is more of a traditional tablet. My Surface specifically is an i7 processor, so that is going to drain more than the ones we typically would compare here, which we would obviously be comparing the i3 processor version. But nonetheless, even the best Surfaces will only last about anywhere from 5 to 7 hours. The iPad Pro will typically last 8 to 10 hours. So for that reason alone, the iPad Pro will definitely take it when it comes to battery life, especially when doing things like using the full brightness as we are on both displays. And as we saw in the beginning of our recording, the iPad Air went down 7%, whereas the Surface Pro 3 went down about 13%. So that's a huge difference. And yes, because of that reason, the iPad Pro will definitely have a better battery life compared to the Surface Pro 3. Now, when it comes to the extras category between these two, Well, here's another open and shut case. The iPad Pro doesn't really have any extras to speak of. Whereas the Surface Pro 3, well, you have expandable memory, you have a built-in kickstand, which this is the only tablet I've ever gotten to compare where I don't need a stand to prop it up. You also have, of course, the ability to plug in any device with a full USB, full headphone jack, and, of course, a display port, all available to you at any point. So, for that reason, yes, the Surface Pro 3 easily takes the extras category. Now, when doing a price comparison, it's actually pretty tough to do between these two models specifically. Why is that? Well, it's actually hard to find a Surface Pro 3 new anymore. Microsoft really tried to push this out through the holidays, and so therefore you don't find that many new ones anymore. However, if you do go to new websites where you still can find them new, such as Amazon, you will find it at a cheaper price point than $600. It had gone down to $799, and it's gone down tremendously since then, now being at $559. Compared to the iPad Pro 9.7, starting at $599, it's a 32 gig model versus a 64 gig model. I also have to point out that the Surface gives you a pen coming with it, whereas the iPad Pro, you have to buy the pen separately, and it's a $100 accessory purchase. So, here's the thing. I will have to just say, what if it's the same price point? Because, again, it's very hard to find the Pro 3. So what if it's the same price point, $599? Even at $599, you would get double the storage and a pen coming with it, whereas you would have to pay a lot more to get that same thing on the iPad Pro 9.7. So for this reason, overall, I still give the better bang for your buck for the Surface Pro 3. Even if they were the exact same price, you're still getting more for your money because you're getting double the storage and getting a pen accessory coming with it built in. All right, let's tally them up and see who won. When it comes to look and feel, the iPad Pro does have the better overall look and feel. It just feels better in the hand, and it definitely has the better look. When it comes to web browsing, the Surface Pro 3 is easily the better web browser, not only loading everything quicker, but obviously you can go to every website, as where the iPad Pro is limited with not being able to support Adobe Flash and Silverlight. When it comes to music, the iPad Pro is easily the best choice to go with the better sounding speakers and more of them. When it comes to movies, it really is a tie. The Surface Pro 3 definitely has the bigger screen and, in my opinion, better colors, but the iPad Pro is definitely brighter, so it will leave it to you for which one is better overall. When it comes to the camera, the iPad Pro is easily one of the best tablet cameras, and the Surface Pro 3 just can't compete with it. When it comes to gaming, the Surface Pro 3 has much more games you can play compared to just an app store on the iPad Pro. When it comes to battery life, however, the iPad Pro again fires back, having the better overall battery life, easily outlasting the Surface by 2 to 4 hours. When it comes to extras, you definitely are going to have more extras with the Surface, having a full-size USB, expandable storage, the ability to have a display port, and of course the built-in kickstand and pen. When it comes to the price point, overall the Surface Pro 3 is also going to take this, just having the better overall bang for your buck, getting more storage and a pen coming with the device. And when we tally them all up, we actually have a tie. Yes, it is a tie, one of the very rare occurrences here between our side-by-side comparisons. Overall, if you're looking for a better look and feel, sound quality, camera quality, and battery life, you want the iPad Pro. However, if you want it more for web browsing and gaming and extras, along with a better price point, you're definitely going to want to go with the Surface Pro 3. Thank you as always for watching. Hopefully you did like this comparison. Please give a like, thumbs up down below if you did. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.